Peace and blessings. Unplug them. Most High guide my mind, my tongue, and my heart to be in alignment with your will. Mackin. McDevil's was my spot. McDevil's. Mind control ultra. Fools rush in. Let's talk a little bit about the most famous burger joint in the world. The symbol speaks volumes. The famous M with the line up under it. First of all, let's look at M again. M is W upside down. We've showed and proved several times that when you have your W, what you're looking at is 3 V's. Well, it's the same thing with M. M and M. 666 and 666. The V is the Hebrew equivalent of Vav, or rather, Vav come first. And what you're seeing is 3 pyramids. All you need is the lines to connect the top and the bottom, right? So when you see McDonald's with the line up underneath, you're seeing that symbol. 3 pyramids, or 3 Vavs, which is 3 sixes, 666. But also when you see McDonald's, what you're seeing is on the famous golden arches, and we know arches are very important to Masons. You're seeing 13. You see that? The M with the line up underneath it. The line is really a 1, and the M is humped over to make a 3. 13. See, it's just laying on this side. So McDonald's. Lots of controversy concerning McDonald's. Many people saw the movie Super Size Me. And in Super Size Me, they dropped some important points. But it was somewhat of a throw-off because at the end of the day, it made you look right when you needed to look left. You looked at the obvious, the fact that McDonald's makes you fat. And gluttony is indeed one of the things that will cause death to the body. A lot of church folks will be very cautious about other things that cause death to the body, like smoking and drinking and fornicating. But they will turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to anything concerning eating too much. Now, McDonald's food is very fattening, and it's not coming from a natural source. There are many scriptures that talk about let the land produce the food that you eat. Genesis 1, 11 and 12. Talking about the forbidden foods. Leviticus 11, 13 through 40. So there are foods that are forbidden. Talking about miserable food. Numbers 21 and 5. All you can eat. Deuteronomy 12, 15 through 20. A lot of people love to go to smorgasbords, which do nothing but tempt you to eat more than what will cause you to be full. And this is a key to allowing your flesh to take control of you. And anytime you allow for the flesh to take control of you, you are allowing for extra-dimensional entities, also called demons, to control you and to bring you closer to death. Their goal is to kill, steal, and destroy. The craving for meat is also spoken of in Deuteronomy 12 and 20. Being comforted by food in Judges 19 and 5. Food containing blood in 1 Samuel 14, 31 through 33. And we know that they found many things in fast food over the years. No matter which one of the fast food conglomerates, multi-billion-dollar corporations you choose, they all have the same goal in mind. And that is to make you fat, make you slow, trap you in gluttony, and to kill you in the end. So we talked about a few things that everybody knows about, such as pink slime. Well, what is pink slime really? When you think about McDonald's, we're talking about, first of all, the last name of a family. And some of you are already aware of the fact that family lines and bloodlines are a huge part of how the Illuminati operate. They give certain bloodlines and families particular jobs to do within the great work. What is the great work? The great work of Masonry is population control on the outside level of the onion. But once you go deeper down into the onion, They want to possess you, kill, steal, or destroy you. So what is pink slime really? Well, flesh is pink, ironically. I don't care what color you are. You skin your flesh, and up under there, you're going to see pink. Believe it. You know, Eddie Murphy had the famous joke about McDonald's and the addiction that kids have to McDonald's. McDonald's! And how he didn't want his mother's natural made burger. That's a whole different argument than should you eat meat, which a lot of people overstand the dangers to that and how meat transforms your vibration into a beast-like vibration. Overall, you give meat to a dog, or raw meat or bloody meat to a pit bull in order to make it more vicious. And the same thing happens to you. So Eddie Murphy's joke, like Dave Chappelle's jokes, were based on things they learned while being brought into the secret society. They teach their members certain things. They might want us to go to McDonald's or Taco Hell or White Casket or Murder King, but they'll tell their members don't eat there because they know some things are being done there that aren't for the elite to partake in, but are for the masses. And McDonald's is made for mass consumption. Fools rush in to get you to rush in right quick, grab you something and rush on out. Fast food. As opposed to food that is properly prepared, prayed over, cooked with love. Some of you who are familiar with the black craft that's popular down south in places like Louisiana and Georgia, you know that you can cook a spell into food. A lot of people know about that. Folks from Louisiana is very reticent to eat your spaghetti. And they also know how to make gumbo, filled with abominations, abominable things, insects of the sea, crawfish, which is really crawfish, lobster, and crab, which are both related to spiders, to get you to eat abominable things. And this helps to produce a vibration in you, which is conducive to allowing extra-dimensional entities into your consciousness, into your body. Not only are they bad for you, many people eat so much shrimp they have an iodine heart, like Pimp C said, but McDonald's is slanging more than cursed food. They slinging dope. The shakes, strong in sugar. The coffee, strong in caffeine. You remember Karis One song, Cocaine Business Controls America. Illegal business controls America. He talked about caffeine. Coffee is one of the most underrated drugs that there is. But people will tell you, I can't start my day without some coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet. You better leave me alone. And then, of course, there's the fries, which are covered in salt. And salt, a little salt is okay. But salt will produce high blood pressure. And high blood pressure and too much salt will produce a heart attack. So there is the obvious attack on your health, but let's go into the occult. I know that's what you're waiting for. I considered Ronald McDonald, and I thought immediately of John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, the mass murderer, the serial killer who dressed up like a clown and who did elite kids parties. Oh no, he didn't do parties of your run-of-the-mill, your baby bears. He did Papa Bear parties. And his job was to help to traumatize the children, to bring them into sex ritual magic, and to do blood sacrifices on behalf of the elite. Just like Jack the Ripper did blood sacrifices on behalf of the elite. So traumatizing children with the clown face is something you will often find exemplified in movies. Now, one movie in particular is Stephen King's It. In Stephen King's It, the clown is called Pennywise. And I thought that it was ironic. I believe it was Ben Franklin who said Pennywise and dollar foolish. Many of us go to McDonald's because we're trying to be Pennywise, trying to save a few pennies. And the dollar menu is a favorite place for people who are impoverished to feed their children. This is by design. The elite want you to give your children things that will not only addict them, but will cause them to be fat and unproductive and will also cause them to die a slow and horrifying death by way of heart disease, elevated cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, high blood pressure. What are the number one killers of black people in particular? But it's out to kill everybody, because McDonald's does not just simply market to black people, although they have different marketing for different ethnicities, just as any warfare is waged with different weapons for different enemies, or for enemies with different dispositions. You need to create different weapons. So for us, they got Mickey D's, and if you remember, JJ on Good Times was always taking his girl to Mickey D's because it was a cheap date. McDonald's will also lure children with toys, much like a pedophile. And this is also symbolic of what you find in Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald is used to lure children into asking their parents for McDonald's against the parents' better judgment oftentimes, and taking advantage of the fact that oftentimes parents don't have the time necessary in the day to prepare a good meal developed and cooked in love, and so they will run to what's convenient. And McDonald's is more convenient than the liquor store. You can find a McDonald's on every major corner, and this is by no mistake. In a world where we know that the devil is the prince of this world and the elite, the secret societies, run things, you should be quite dubious about allowing your children to partake of the things that are given much promotion, publicity, and distribution in this world. And no company is more wider distributed, promoted, and publicized than McDonald's. Children can say McDonald's sometimes before they can say mama and daddy. So in Stephen King's It, which starred a number of child stars, a couple of them. One of them was John Ritter, who was the son of Tex Ritter, an old cowboy actor, singer from the early days of Hollywood, who gave over his son to Hollywood, to the Project Janus program. And John Ritter grew up in the program, and so he made for a great candidate for that role in Stephen King's It. But in Stephen King's It, you have Pennywise terrorizing these children. And even as the children grow up, they're still bound by this mind control terror, this traumatization that was initiated by this clown. Stephen King's It came out in 1990, but it was all about mind control traumatizing children. Subconsciously, the goal was for Pennywise and Ronald McDonald to relate, because there always is a trick that the enemy uses where he puts himself in front of your face, and then when you choose him, he can accuse you of saying, well, I put my sign and symbol on it, they still took it. And that makes you choose willingly a thing of the enemy. And that's a tricky way of doing it. The devil is in the details. He's into legalism. And so if he can get you to choose him, whether you know consciously you're choosing him or not, then he considers that a score one. So subconsciously, they made Pennywise look somewhat like Ronald McDonald. His makeup scheme, and you know that clowns can wear a variety of different styles of makeup, but his makeup scheme was similar to Ronald McDonald. It was more of a thugged out version of Ronald McDonald. And of course, we know that clowns come from carnivals. In the word carnival, you have the root word, and if you buy some chili to make you some chili dogs, you will see it'll say chili con carne. Con carne means with carn, or with flesh. Carn means flesh. And clowns are notorious and famous for coming from carnivals. Carnivorous. Dinosaurs are either plant eaters or they're carnivorous. They're herbivores or carnivores. Okay? A voracious appetite. Vor means has to do with to eat. But in carne or carnivore, or carnivorous, you find the word flesh. And even in incarnate, to incarnate means to come into flesh. They say Jesus is God incarnated. Reincarnated means to come again in the flesh. Reincarnate. But you find clowns and carnivals intimately connected. Well, back in the ancient times, the clown was the joker or the jester, the court jester. And the court jester didn't just do little foolish tricks to amuse the king. He would also be used to torture individuals, to traumatize them by laughing and clowning and acting a fool while he tortured them. And you'll find this exemplified in the depiction of the Joker. But let's go a little slower. The actor Tim Curry played Pennywise. And Tim Curry was known for playing villains. He even played Dr. Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, there was a particular commercial. You'll do yourself a favor if you look at some vintage McDonald's commercials, particularly the piano recital commercial and the My Special Friend commercial, which is probably the illest that I have seen, where Ronald McDonald creeps up to the little boy's window and pops his head up. And the little boy looking out the window, and he's, you know, on the low, jumping into the little boy's house without the knowledge of the parents. And he's playing with the little boy, doing all sorts of magic and magic tricks, which always go hand in hand with clowns. So magicians and clowns also go hand in hand. And we know that the Masons, the secret societies, produce magicians. They use wizardry. Well, that in turn is all about deception. Clowns are symbolic of deception. So when you see Ronald McDonald used as a mascot for a food place, this should be something that you question. Why use a clown? Other than to bring children there, a clown is all about we're deceptively doing something in front of your face. You know that that man behind the makeup is not a clown. You know that that man does not look like the clown looks. However, it is a way to disguise duality. So McDonald's, in using a clown for their mascot, is admitting that there is something going on that they're hiding. But in the commercial, for My Special Friend, you find Ronald McDonald, which is again one of those double cadences, one of those rhythmic cadences like Hannah Montana, which is also a way to describe and disguise duality. But you find Ronald McDonald doing magic with the boy, doing mirror magic, where him and the boy is in the mirror one minute, then they duck down from the mirror and they're still in the mirror. And this is supposed to be cute. That's crystalmancy. Also, Ronald McDonald in the commercial turns himself into a light. And we know that Satan and his ministers can transform themselves into beings of light. So magic is featured in the McDonald's commercials. Ronald doing magic, mirror magic, etc. Playing hide and seek, which is another way of showing that there's something deceptive going on, something that McDonald's is hiding. And we're going to come to discover that it's probably something quite more wicked than making you fat. Now, the piano recital commercial was very telling to me. I didn't recall it until I saw it again. Watch it again. Type in vintage McDonald's commercials and watch the piano recital. The little girl's words that she says. Use the same discernment that you use to discern the songwriter's secret when you listen to that commercial. Do not listen to it at face value only. Because the things that she says are too reminiscent of what a child who is going through the Illuminati trauma MK Ultra program would say when they do not want to engage in the satanic ritual, sex magic, pedophilia that the elite practice. She says things like, I'll be scared. I'll be glad when I'm done. I don't want to do this. And the adults coax her into it. In the lyrics to the recital, where she plays a tune, a classical music tune, and we know much classical music is infused with the devil's chords and also using certain note combinations that are hypnotic, and she's playing one. In the lyrics, she says, I'm still alive, which I thought was very odd for her to say and peculiar. Out of all of the things she could have said in the lyrics, And this is supposed to be a freestyle that she's saying to keep her conscious mind occupied while she's subconsciously playing this repetitive classical tune. And these are the things that you will hear Kathy O'Brien detail in her book, Transformation of America, spelled like hypnotic trance. Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien. She herself was taken from the time she was a child and used by her pedophile father as a bargaining chip to keep him from going to jail for pedophilia. He gives her over to the mind control program, the MK Ultra traumatic mind control system that many children, including Michael Jackson, were all once a part of. So the adults coax her. And that commercial is very eerie if you watch it with your songwriter's secret eye and listen with your songwriter's secret ear. Also in the Ronald McDonald commercial, the one he starred in, the My Special Friend commercial, you will find that it ends with him doing a little puppet show, which again is a form of deception because you know that the puppets aren't real, but there's a person back there, right? And the puppets are a reptilian or dragon puppet and a person. And the reptilian or dragon puppet is beating up on the person. Interesting. I thought about Puff the Magic Dragon. So you have crazy clowns, crazy jesters, and crazy jokers, crazy magicians. The Joker, Heath Ledger. Did Heath Ledger become crazed by playing that role? We know Cesar Romero, they say, played the original Joker, correct? But something happened while Heath Ledger was getting indoctrinated into playing that role. And of course, we can't believe what mass media says about him. But I believe that it became too much for him to bear. The psychotic behavior of the Joker that he had to align himself with mentally began to take control of him as his mind opened itself up to the demon of jester, the demon of mischief, Jokey Smurf. So look at some of the symbols that are famous in McDonald's aside from Ronald McDonald. Well, you have the Moon Man, Mac Tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I thought about how they're stealing the children at night, out of sight. The creepy trees that used to be in the playscape area of McDonald's. The trees with people faces that people see when they take hallucinogens. I have some brothers who are into what they believe to be the science of the Amanita mascara, which is another name for the mushroom. And they use the mushroom, they say, to go in battle with extra-dimensional beings like reptilians, which they've all seen. But they all say, and I even know a thugged out brother who took some shrooms and said he saw the trees moving and being alive. And one of the wives of one of these brothers who believes in this use of this mushroom, which I don't condone, and she didn't condone it either, and we talk about it together as we were both believers. One time she decided to try it at her husband's urging. She said that she saw the same thing that he talks about. So it's not a thing of we all go somewhere different when we partake in those things. People see some of the same things. That means that these beings do exist. They take you to the demon Zion, or the dimension where these things operate. And you're able to see beyond the third dimension and deal with these things in their dimension, the fifth dimension, like the group. So Mayor McCheese and Officer Big Mac. I thought to myself, well, now that's just foolishness. But then when you think yourself, you'll think a lot of things are simply foolishness when really there's deeper meaning behind it. So I allowed for myself to get quiet and for the Most High to begin to speak. And by way of the Ruach HaKodesh, it came to me that those are people burgers. That's right. Mayor McCheese, Officer Big Mac, those are people burgers. What a strange way to create a mascot. And this will bring us into my belief and the belief of others that part of the great work of McDonald's is to give you meat that not only makes you fat, not only makes you sloppy and lazy elevates your blood pressure and your blood sugar, but also that will make you vampire-like, filled with flesh and blood, not simply of cows. And we know that in India, both ancient and present, there's a worship of cows as being some sort of spirit being or deity. Well, the people burgers. Let's get into that just a little bit. Well, a couple more things first. Grimace, which when I would inquire as a child, well, what is Grimace supposed to be? People would tell me, well, he represents a milkshake. Well, why is he purple? Wasn't no purple milkshakes. A grimace is a word to describe a agonizing frown. When you say you're looking grim at somebody, you're getting grim with somebody, that's a short form of the extended form of the word grimace. A grimace is the expression that people have when they're in pain or being tortured. Then you have Ham, the burglar, or the Hamburglar, another people burger, but the black and white stripes of mind control is his dress. And also we have Ham representing what? Ancient Kemet, Kim, Al-Kam. So again, we're alluding to magic all through this, because ancient Kemet is known for magic. Okay, let's look at a little bit at the history of McDonald's, and then we're going to go into the mystery of McDonald's. Jeff Stratton is the current president of McDonald's. There was a sister named Salgado who was arrested for complaining to Jeff Stratton at an event that her children could not be properly fed on the salary that she made. One thing that we all know about McDonald's is that McDonald's, although they make millions, billions of dollars a year off of their wares, McDonald's pays them kids peanuts. And nowadays, in the economy that we live in, things are so bad that you find grown folks, older people, going to McDonald's to find jobs just to get a couple of dollars to make the ends meet. Ice Cube had a song, A Bird in the Hand, which destroys your argument of why people work there then. Some people, even on the left, the so-called left wing, right wing, same bird, some people make the argument, well, you don't have to work there. That's not true. In certain urban communities, that is the only ready and available job, especially for young people, but even for people that's not so young nowadays. When I used to go to McDonald's and I was younger, all you saw behind the counter was teenagers. You don't see that so much anymore. Now you're even seeing old folks, aunties and uncles back there. Hold on one second. Need to get a little juice. Okay. So Jeff Stratton had this sister arrested for complaining, interrupting his big speech, and making him look bad in front of people, in front of cameras, or so we're told, because again, this is a media story, and media stories always are steeped in duality. There's always more than one agenda at play. They did not want to promote Sister Salgado, but perhaps it was part of the great work in fooling on you in front of your very eyes, making you see something and then do something totally anathema to what you see. And that's part of duality also. To make you see something, know it's what you see, but then do something that totally goes against what you know you just saw. So still, with all of the things that we've heard about McDonald's, that's on the outer layer of the onion skin, we still go to McDonald's. Some people will go for the coffee. Some people will go for the fries. You shouldn't go for nothing. And you shouldn't be surprised. But a sister told me, one of my viewers from out of Cali, big shout out to Lala, had put me up on the game that out there are signs posted in the McDonald's that tell you that McDonald's will cause you all sorts of health problems and is dangerous to your health. Just like you might find on the back of chemical products. Now, we don't have those in Detroit or up here in the Midwest that I've seen yet anyway. But you got to think about Cali as being a place that's more health conscious. Excuse me. So in a place that's more health conscious, you have more people making more complaints. You have more people who are aware of the ingredients of McDonald's. You have people that are more aware and who care more about the fact that this food is not conducive to a healthy body. And so these warning signs are posted. out in California. Anybody else who knows anything about that, feel free to comment. So let's look a little bit at the origin of McDonald's. I found duality right away. Dick and Mac are the brothers who originate McDonald's, and their last name is McDonald. So say it. Dick McDonald and Mac Donald. Have mercy. It started in San Bernardino, California. And California is interesting because it's not only the place where they do the Bohemian Grove ceremonies, but the name itself. California is a place where the elite think it's sweet, and they like to go there to vacate. Disneyland is in McDonald's, as well as Hollywood. So a big part of California is about deception. The porn industry is also in California. So let's look at it. And when you say San Bernardino, we know that San, like in San Juan, San is Spanish, Latin for saint. So in California, you have the breakdown of the word, Cali, Forn, and Ya. Well, we know C is a false letter. We've said it time and time again, but maybe this time we'll say it better. C either makes a S sound or a K sound. An S sound as in circle, and a K sound as in California. F and P are both the same letters. F is a P minus the appendage, the same way that C is a G minus the appendage. And Ya, which ends many words like Nigeria, Kenya, California, Ya is to represent a God, or to say God. Okay? Or the I am. So Kali is the goddess of destruction in Hindu. Forn really means porn. It comes from a demon called Porne. And Ya is I am. So it is I am, the destruction goddess of porn. Have mercy. So there is a destruction agenda that goes on in California. Remember, everything look good, ain't it? They call it the Golden State. It's supposed to be the sunniest, most proper and prim and upscale place that you can live. Beverly Hills and different places like that. And you have to understand that Lucifer was not an ugly being. They say that he was the most beautiful of all the angelic beings. He disguises himself in light, in gold, in beauty. And California is very big on beauty. Lots of acting going on in California. So we're talking about a land of deception where McDonald's originated. Now, interestingly enough, the first McDonald's was set up off of Route 66. And a lot has been said about Route 66 in pop culture. But Route 66 will take you all along this satanic nation, this Masonic land, set up first with 13 colonies. Yes, this land that we live in, this New Babylon, was first set up with 13 colonies. They taught you that in geography and in history class. And Route 66 and the 13 both allude to the elite's belief in numerology and in the use of certain numbers to symbolize their affiliation with the demonic. 66 has to do with the Qiploth, or the original 66 fallen that they say came down. I know that some say that it was 300 that came down, different things of that nature. Well, there are 66 listed in the annals of demonology. And so 66 is a recurring theme. Also a play off of the 666. Let's look at a couple of other things. I have well, the thumbnail that I will use will be the owner of McDonald's with the one of the heads from the Olympic Committee throwing up the horn sign, the Manu Coronado. And he's looking very devilish and psychopathic in his countenance. They are symbolizing that they are part of the great work to destroy you and I. Now, in the elite's belief, And of course, you would have to be an elite to be McDonald's chief. In the elite's belief is the sacrifice of children, of babies. It's essential. Consider the cremation of care ceremony at the Bohemian Grove, which takes place in Cali. There's the biblical reference to Moloch, where people sacrifice their children for success. There's the story of Darth Plagueis, which George Lucas took directly from the biblical reference, where Darth Plagueis' father sacrificed him for success. Then there's, of course, Rosemary's Baby, which was a film that was all about that, where they really took Mia Farrow down through a ritual, which is what they do in Hollywood. They don't just film people acting things out. They film the actual ritual. And in a movie like Rosemary's Baby, where they used real people behind the movie's names as character names, is definitely one of those movies. And one reason why Nicki Minaj calls herself, her alter ego, Roman Zelensky. The director was called Roman Polanski, and he was a well-known pedophile. Yes, he got busted for messing with a 13-year-old girl, for sodomizing her to be exact. And they like unnatural sex, because the more unnatural and heinous the sex, the more you tear the veil between dimensions and allow stronger demonic beings to possess you. And they want the stronger beings so they can go up higher in the ranks. Now, Ice Cube had a song, A Bird in the Hand, where he said, I always knew that I would clock G's, but welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order, please? Gotta say your food that might give you cancer, but my son doesn't take no for an answer. And that's part of the argument of why people work at McDonald's. They are forced to have to work at McDonald's, and that's part of the great work as well. Don't you think that with all of the money that McDonald's makes, they could pay their employees $10 an hour with ease? And don't say it's because it's skillless labor. Some of y'all sit on y'all butts and make big money. Please believe it. Why not give the children a nice head start? But what it does is, especially in the ghetto community, is that same kid that took the initiative to go and get him a job, when he tells his classmates he work at McDonald's, he's going to get clowned. Literally. And so the other alternatives, like a bird in the hand, is to get out here in these streets. And McDonald's is a part of that agenda as well. Now, McDonald's is born off of lack of choice. Interesting. Yes, in the very beginning, people questioned would it have success because of the fact that the menu was abbreviated. In most cases, when you go to a restaurant, there's a wide range of things to eat. Nowadays, that may be so for McDonald's, but when McDonald's first came out, you could get a hamburger or you could get a hamburger. Some fries and a shake to go along with it, but that was the main course. Why were they slinging these meat patties as their main thing? Well, the origin of McDonald's, it was originally a barbecue. And when you think about the way that they sacrificed children to the fire, this is the barbecue that they were serving in the very beginning. Now, Dick and Mac sold their rights to McDonald's. First they leased it out, but the guy eventually ended up buying it to a dude named Ray Kroc. And when I said the name Ray Kroc, first thing came to my mind, of course, was who has the last name Kroc? We're looking at another Illuminati name, Ray Kroc. Again, we see Egyptian magic signified. Ray Kroc has to do with the crocodile of the Nile, sacrificing children to the crocodile of the Nile, also to the god Re or Ra. Okay? Ray Crocodile saw potential, and he saw teens' fixation with the little restaurant. He said he noticed how many teens was hanging out at the McDonald's. And so he began to adjust his advertisements to lean them towards teens. Another big thing in the creation of McDonald's was the McDonald's multi-mixer, which they say was used for shakes. But in my spirit, I feel more heinous uses for the multi-mixer. Multi means mixing different things together. And I thought about how that would have been an ideal way to mix together the different body parts and portions of flesh that would be used to create the famous McDonald's patties that we know nowadays aren't made of 100% all beef from a cow, but are made of some sort of byproduct that they call pig slime. And interesting, in a couple of scenes in Stephen King's It, you find Pennywise coming through the drain, much like the Blob in the old cult classic came through the drain or came through the sink in different times. And I didn't think that was a coincidence, but a coincidence. Now, again, another part of McDonald's is to get people in and out as fast as possible. That's no time for thinking. Anytime somebody wants you to do something real quick, right quick, they don't want you to think about it. You need to think twice about that. The whole goal of McDonald's is to hurry up and get you out that drive-thru, to get you in and get you out. No thought about it. To act without thinking is the act of a fool. We don't think twice. We go to McDonald's, we look on the dollar menu for the nice price, and we grab whatever our eyes fixate on first. Now they do have a wider variety of things on the menu than they did before. But they're all in one way, shape, or another poisonous. Poison with sugar, excess salt, using dairy, which we know about the dangers of using dairy products today, with all of the cows having the H1N1 vaccines and the pus involved in milk production. And when people are trying to get you in and out as fast as possible, it makes you also think about how the hand is quicker than the eye. Another magician's trick. Move, don't think. And we talked about the big M being 666. Well, the old price for the first McDonald's burger was 15 cents. That's the old school price. And 15 is 1 plus 5. That's 6. We even look at their number one contender, which may not even be a contender, but may just be a pretender. Burger King. A king, especially in the ancient times, all kings believed that they ruled by divine right. So that's a burger god. Kings and divinity and the divine bloodline go hand in hand. I thought about the song Happy and the god of the Nile, like Ray Kroc, Crocodile of the Nile, called Happy, H-A-P-I, the Happy Meal or gay meal for kids. Kids, baby goats. But the happy as in gay. Be happy and gay. And part of the mind control programming and behavior modification agenda, the population control agenda, a great way to control population is to make the population gay. Little boys would want a Happy Meal. They would have toys that were pretty much androgynous. Some complaints were made about this back in the day, back in the 80s, and they began to make the toys more aimed at either girls or boys. But in general, the toys in the Happy Meal are androgynous, are toys that could be for girls or boys. So they're putting something in the meat to sterilize you, to make you less fertile, and to cause your children to have homosexual tendencies. Now, some of this was told by who I believe was a fake, but it was a duality play, so we still got to look at what he had to say. Rabbi Finkelstein. And an old Little Rascals insult, one kid to another, would be, you rat fink. Whenever we see L at the end of the word, like Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, L means Lord of. And a fink is a dastardly individual. Steen is stone. So Rabbi Finkelstein had a key street here in Detroit, one of the streets I came off of, between Finkel and Puritan, was Finkel. And I had an uncle who they used to call Finkel Dad, and he started saying he was going to Fink-L. That's how he would say it. But Finkelstein, or Finkelstein, Abe Finkelstein, and Abraham, part of his story that's well known by many people is Abraham was told to go and sacrifice his son. But Rabbi Finkelstein gave us some Zionist misinfo. Misinfo, meaning that there's truth deliberately wrapped in this lie. And the lie was, of course, you hear a man with a caricature of a Jewish person's New York accent. They said he was a rabbi from the East Coast, which was part of why they could get away with giving him such a clownish Jewish accent. But it was to make you dismiss it at the end of the day. Anybody with ears to hear and eyes to see would say, well, you know what? This is fake. And a lot of people turned away from it. But those of us with real keen spidey senses, or even better said, with the spirit of the true and living, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, we could tell that it was something really to this. And what they do oftentimes with misinformation is the Dr. York technique. You take an individual that's not credible and you give them the illest true information that there is and let them say it. So that when it ever comes out, people will point to that discredible individual and say, oh, you got that from so-and-so. Oh, man, you can't believe him. Instead of looking at the information and saying, well, you know what, it's something to that. So it's the same play. They use the same play, same game, different name. And they brought out Rabbi Finkelstein, Abe or Abraham Finkelstein, to give you some true information about McDonald's that was already coming out through the woodworks. And so that every time you look this up, you find the #1 contributor or source of this information, or contributor to this information. Most everybody is quoting Rabbi Finkelstein, which is why I saved him until the latter part of this video to even speak upon. Now, we're also talking about a Proverbs 28 and 22 dynamic when we're talking about the Zionist agenda and whatnot, and Scripture does come into play, because there is an agenda to keep us away from what Scripture has to say. And I don't believe the hype. Nothing's going to scare me to read it. And I've read some very heinous things in my lifetime, all about Aleister Crowley and demonology, so why not crack open what they call the good book and take a look for yourself. Don't let Pastor Porkchop and them poison you against the potential truth that you can find if you crack open that book. Proverbs 28:22 says clearly, he that hasteth to be rich, that hasten or hasteth mean hurry up. So he that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye. And when you translate the evil eye back, you will find that has to do with a curse or a spell over you, the evil eye. Esther would give Fred the evil eye. And even down south, they know about the evil eye. But it says, he that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him. Now, if you hasten to be rich, you'll be blinded to certain things, is what it's basically telling you. And the McDonald's crew hastened to be rich. They wanted to hurry up, get you in and get you out of there and get your money. And that's a person with an evil eye. They're not considering certain other things, the darkness of what they're doing, and the price that they will pay once their physicality dwindles away. They will pay a price for their sacrifice. Remember, fools rush in, as was said by Alexander Pope. That does not come from the Bible. That's not a scriptural quote, though many people think that it is. But fools rush in where wise men or angels fear to tread. Straight jacket. Now let's look at Mac tonight. Yeah, my man said McDonald's was my spot, and yeah, people get jacked in McDonald's and all sorts of things. McDonald's is a source of devilment in the community. So we look at Mac tonight. The Mac tonight glasses. I thought about, this is a moon, it's nighttime, and he's wearing sunglasses. And I thought about the song, I wear my sunglasses at night, by Corey Hart. And a couple of things came to play after I looked at Corey Hart's lyrics and the Mac Tonight lyrics. There were 3 or 4 commercials. I've got the change in the lyrics from 3. And the Mac Tonight Moon Man, think of Jamaricai's song Mr. Moon. The Mac Tonight Moon Man sang in a Frank Sinatra lounge lizard type of style. And if you remember, the lounge lizard was supposed to be a sleazy type of individual who sang to get the panties off of girls, right? And Frank Sinatra himself was affiliated with the gangster life, also with mind control. He starred in the original Manchurian Candidate as the Manchurian Candidate. The same role that Denzel played was originally played by Frank Sinatra. Well, when you look at Kathy O'Brien's Transformation of America book, she names Frank Sinatra as one of those people involved in mind control programming. So I thought that was interesting that the Moon Man would take on that persona and wear his sunglasses at night. Now, the lyrics of Sunglasses at Night, we'll look at that, and then we'll look at the Mac Tonight lyrics, and then we're going to close out. I also remembered in the P-Funk, where George Clinton said, let me put on my sunglasses so I can see what I'm saying. There's something about the elite and the stars always wearing their sunglasses. Well, Pac said, you know, I can look in the mirror, I can still see my soul. There's mirrors all around them. They're constantly taking photographs. It's wise if you know that there's something sinister behind your eyes to keep that hidden from the public if you don't want them talking smack about you. And that's a key reason why you find the elite and stars always wearing their sunglasses at night. And even Mike made famous the mirrored sunglasses. So now don't look at me, look at you. But he said in the song, which had the Sweet Dreams Are Made of These beat, and both of the songs had the same songwriter's secret philosophy. They were both singing sadly about being trapped in this system. Both the Eurythmics in Sweet Dreams and Corey Hart in Sunglasses at Night. Look at the video. He's showing very paranoid tendencies all throughout the video. Okay, from the album Feel the Fire, right? Like Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins had the song from off the album Keep the Fire. They had the song This Is It, right? And that song talked about how you get so far up into the program, you get so far up into stardom to have the mind of a star, or to be stardom. You get so far up into it, and then you have to make your choice. That's what This Is It was about. But the Sweet Dreams beat was the beat that you hear driving Sunglasses at Night. And Corey Hart sings very paranoid lyrics where he says, I wear my sunglasses at night so I can keep track of the visions in my eyes. And sunglasses hide the windows to the soul. Now, there was a strange synchronicity when I looked up the lyrics. I happened to find him on an interview on a Joan Rivers show. And I went on ahead and I checked it out after I had named this, subtitled this teaching, Fools Rush In. And ironically, why did the song that he sang on the show, which I thought was going to be Sunglasses at Night, because it didn't say what song he sang. The song he sang on the show was, the very first lyrics was Fools Rush In. So I knew then I was being guided by the Ruach HaKodesh, by the Most High who knows things that I cannot. And so I kept on going. But he says in the lyrics, she's deceiving me. He said, has she got control of me? He's questioning himself. He says, it cuts my security. He says, I turn to her and say, don't switch the blade on the guy in shades, oh no. Meaning, don't kill me and offer me for a sacrifice, please. Because he knew that was going down. He also says, I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch you weave, then breathe your storylines. So he's giving evidence to the fact that he realizes he's being deceived. He sings the song in a very sad type of monotone, which is indicative of the fact that he felt some type of way about getting tricked, like a lot of them do. But they in too deep. So now let's look at Mac Tonight, who said, when the clock strikes 6:30, babe. And I looked at the clock in the video, the commercial. And 6:30 has both of the hands of the clock on the 6. Again, we see the 66. McDonald started on Route 66, and the commercials for Mac Tonight introduced the 99-cent Big Mac, which is 66. So again, we have evidence of the fallen being involved. And when he says 6:30, babe, on the conscious side of things, on the outer layer of the onion, that relates to the lounge lizard singing to a lady to get her seduced. It's a seductive style, but a babe is an old reference for a child. So this is another way to sexualize seducing children. It says, time to head for golden lights. It's a good time. Now, golden lights. Again, we know that Lucifer and his angels can transform and disguise themselves as beings of light. And the gold, the representation of the golden sun, a huge part of Illuminati symbolism, even seen in the so-called holographic performance done by Michael Jackson, where the golden sun is prominent, featured on stage. It says, it's a good time for the great taste dinner. Now, we're supposed to believe that that's him saying the word dinner in a Frank Sinatra-esque type of style. But remember, they use duality. They do two things at one time, two meanings at once. At McDonald's, of course, how it ends. And the falling star ends the commercial and lands at McDonald's. But I looked at dinner. The way that it's spelled in the commercial. It's spelled the same way as the moon goddess, Dinah. Some call Diana, where Muslims get the deen from, Diana, the moon goddess. The same goddess that Michael is singing to. No, he's not singing about Diana Ross, but Diana Ross, the boss, was used to represent the Queen of Babylon, just as Whitney Houston played the Queen of the Night in The Bodyguard, when she dressed up in her funny bunny looking gear. She was representing the Queen of the Night. They even said it in the movie. That's who she was supposed to be costume like. And the moon goddess has another name, and that is the Queen of the Night. And Dinah, or Dina, is her name. And in Dirty Diana, Mike even says, she wants to make me stay and take your weight off of me. So again, we have another example of an artist showing that they're not liking what's going down, what's happening to them. Another of the Mac Tonight commercials. Of course, when the clock strikes, he changes that lyric to when the stars come out to play, babe. Again, the reference to he's seducing, but not a woman called a babe, because these, again, this is all marketed toward children on the low, on the sly, and he's doing his thing at night, which is when they steal away children. So many of the lost children that you find on the back of milk cartons and that come up missing every year are ground up and put into your fast food burgers. And they use the false Rabbi Finkelstein to tell you this truth, so that should I tell you or anyone else tell you, you will point back to Rabbi Finkelstein, or you will be pointed back to him in your research. You will hear his caricature voice and you will disbelieve. That's the purpose of that. He says, when the stars come out to play, babe, a twinkling show. Ooh. And again, this is more reference to the silver shadow that Atlantic Star sings about, which is another analogy for the fallen angel beings masquerading as beings of light. He says, out of sight. Yeah, the nighttime is golden light time with creepy music and hypnotic ads. The very Wizard of Oz-ish type of feel that is in the skyscape that the Moon Man is navigating through while he's singing. All of this is part of proving to you that there's something magical and hypnotic going on behind the counter at McDonald's. On another one, he says, this was for the breakfast. They said, well, you know, people wasn't going to McDonald's for breakfast at one time. When I was growing up, people didn't go to McDonald's for breakfast until after these commercials helped to introduce you to the breakfast menu at McDonald's. And it says, when the night speeds toward the dawn lead, time to head for golden light again. Now, on the outside, you say, oh, well, that just represents the golden arches. No, it's representing the fallen beings, masquerading as beings of golden or bright shining light, the bright and shining star. For that big taste, it's my morning place. It's a beautiful morning. And that made reference to the beautiful mourning of children who are being sacrificed. And it sounds beautiful to the elite to hear a baby scream or a child mourn. Remember, mourning is originally about when the sun would come out and cause the caveman to be in pain because of the sun scorching and torching the skin again. And it's where you get the mourning of mourning your relatives during a funeral. The same word. We're almost done. A couple of other things. I looked at how the moon man was in the heavens. And in the heavens, in the depictions on the commercials, the heavens were made up like a fun house or like amusement parks. And fun houses is all about terror and fear, and amusement parks. He was on a roller coaster on one. And even Cedar Point is known for its famed roller coasters, the Demon Drop and the Gemini, which is again all about duality, the twins. Mixing two things that don't go together. Terror and fun. How do you get fun out of being scared? But that's traumatizing for children. It's fun for the elite to watch the children in fear. Even Pennywise says to them, while he's terrorizing the young children, he says to them, yes, get scared. He said, your fear makes you taste better. Have mercy. Ronald McDonald. Making the children afraid so the meat is sweeter and has more of a hypnotic taste. The McDLT I also thought of when I thought of duality. The hot side hot and the cold side cold. That didn't work very well. And then I even thought of the mind control in other commercials when they would say certain things fast and hypnotically. And how many of us knew 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun? Like you know a wrap. That was a way of ingraining in your mind, putting mind control in your mind concerning this product. And if you as an older person or as a teenager could pick up on it, that's why little kids be so goofy and crazy about getting some McDonald's. They'll cry and scream and kick if you go past a McDonald's and don't stop in there and get something. Because the mind control is aimed primarily at kids. And McDonald land is related to Never Never Land or Neverland. In one McDonald's commercial, they had a look up McDonald's goat commercial. They did a pet goat type of deal, which is symbolic and similar to what George W. Bush was reading on the day of duality 9-1-1-11, representing the twin ones. And he was reading upside down, I might add. He was reading a book called My Pet Goat. And the McDonald's goat commercial is all about a pet goat. Check it out. Read the lyrics. They have them on Google. So McDonald land is nothing but a Neverland. A place where fantasy and reality are mixed together in order to cause children confusion and mind control. And then also, there is the logo for one of the McDonald's charities. If you can just look at that real quick. And I looked at the logo long and hard, and I tried to figure out, now, what could I see in this logo? I didn't see anything at first. And I wanted to dismiss it. I said, well, you know, maybe that's just an innocent logo. And, of course, the Spirit said, how could it be? So I had to look harder. And then this is what came to me. I bet if you do your research, you'll find some misgivings and some wrongdoing done by the charity. I bet you. Also, you look at the McDonald Land Classic that the basketball players, the young basketball players, the kids, play in. All of these things are connected to McDonald's being aimed at the young and mind controlling the young. And then putting the youngest and most fearful to sacrifice and not making garbage of the meat, but using the meat which has been made more sweet because of the fear, using the meat to feed to us, to make us hooked on not just being a carnivore, but on being a cannibal. And this is what came as I thought about the McDonald Land charity symbol. I saw the Masonic symbol, the triangle up and the triangle down, as above, so below. The hands representing the pyramid pointing down, and the roof of the house representing the pyramid pointing up. And I looked at the hands too to try to see was that a Masonic grip. But more simply what came to me was, that's Ronald leading the child away. And then the heart coming out of the chimney brought new meaning to me of barbecuing or sacrificing the children to the fire. So that was as above, so below. And the house represents the pyramid ritual or the torture chamber. Hearts in the chimney represented children sacrificed to the fire. And Ronald had his hands clasped with the child as he's being led off to slaughter, taken to the Ronald McDonald house. And I believe we just turned it out without a doubt. Heavyweight jamming, again and again and again.